Hey, so
Huh?
I couldn't resist this. I've only got a minute, so I just wanted to talk to you guys about the astrology of toilets and big peenies. So apparently, in case you missed the news bits, which are all over the internet right now, our esteemed new Attorney General, Mr. Matt Whitaker. Um, apparently, um, in his history, he has filed for a patent, which is pretty impressive, right? However, it's a patent for a deep bowl toilet for men who are significantly endowed, because they have these problems. Um, so here's the thing, like I am not discounting the fact that guys who are excessively endowed have some issues with cold toilet bowl water. Um, but yeah, like, because women, please, like, we're constantly telling you to put the seat down. Now you understand why, right? Um, so I'm sure this is an issue. I just find it funny that Mr. Whitaker would find it such a thing that he needed to go file a patent for a design for a deeper bowl for men who are that endowed, which of course suggests that he is not just a big penis, but he has one. So, boys and girls, this naturally led to, I wonder if there's any suggestion of that in a chart. And what is this obsession with Trump and toilets? Even his hand-picked attorney general, who is barely qualified for this position and didn't even want the job, has a toilet fetish, apparently. Oh my God, right? So, here's a quick sidebar for you. Pro tip, excrement and toilets are both ruled by Saturn and Pluto. Very Capricorn, Scorpio stuff going on. And there are some refinements to how that applies. But essentially, anytime you're looking at anything that is related to poop or toilets, you're looking at Saturn or Pluto or their respective signs, which would be Capricorn and Scorpio. Okay, so Matt Whitaker's chart. As soon as I can get, Mercury right now is stationing retrograde, and of course, naturally, everything has just gone bonkers. I can't get my software to work correctly. My computers are acting up. Jeez Louise. It's been quite the day. And apparently, we've had a snowstorm blasting through here. So it's been a very cozy hibernation day. Very non-productive, but cozy nonetheless. So so I will put Matt Whitaker's chart up on my Patreon page as soon as I can get everything to behave itself and go up. Right now, every time I try to say the file is running 26 duplicates of the thing, and without me being able to interrupt it, which is kind of annoying. Mercury station retrograde. Woo. All right, so here's what you should know about Mr. Whitaker and what we look at if it were even possible to determine the size of a man's endowment by looking at his astrology chart. And believe me, ladies, if that were possible, I would be making a fortune, saving a whole lot of women, a whole lot of wasted time. Because just like there's such thing as too small, there is such thing as too big. So we're all kind of like Goldilocks here, looking for the right size, right? And wouldn't you like to know that before you invest 6 months of your life to dating somebody? Oh my, we're being so vulgar. I can't. It's very hard not to be vulgar and laugh the entire time when you're talking about a man who patented a toilet for men with big peenies because, oh my God. You and John Holmes, buddy. You and John Holmes. And John Holmes couldn't get a date either. All right. Anyway, okay. So, Mr. Whitaker, Mr. Matt Whitaker, is there anything in this man's chart that might suggest that he's got a honking big penis here, right? Okay. So typically, just so you ladies know, when we're looking at charts, the first thing, wow, my program's really acting up. The first thing we usually look at is the Mars placement. Now, Mars will generally not give you a lot of information on physical size or endowment. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. It's not reliable. Mars and Aries will not help you. And neither will Mars and Gemini or Mars and Sag. Now, there are some correlations that we know, but they're not reliable, which is why I'm not going to share them with you because I don't want you guys all going on this insane, um, on this insane witch hunt, looking at all the charts of everyone you know for their endowments. However, I will say that if you are particularly enthusiastically active out there, girlfriend, I encourage you to do your own research and get back to us. All right, so he has Mars in Capricorn. Mars in Capricorn is going to do a couple of things when it comes to male sexuality and their endowments. Mars in Capricorn tends to be very, oh, excuse me, very power focused. So a lot of their sexuality is kind of old fashioned man on top, man in charge. Woman on her knees, doing what women do. Um, and this is separate from Mr. Whitaker being one of these old fashioned Christians, which apparently he also is, right? So it's all very men on top, women on bottom, or on her knees, servicing men on top. Oy. Mars in Capricorn also tends to Mars in Capricorn is a funny position, especially with guys. So you get one of two things. You get the guys who want the like perfect um, public wife, like the perfect church wife in public, and behind closed doors, he wants a porn star, which is not really that big a surprise since most guys, usually under the age of 30, think they want a church wife on the outside and a porn star in the bedroom. And ladies, we all know that you get one or the other. Like I can't zip it up, and unzip it on demand. It doesn't work like that, right? And honestly, like who wants to be a porn star? Seems like an awful lot of work and abuse these days because there's a whole lot of choking and spitting and slapping going on. What the hell's wrong with these people? Anyway. So, but Mars and Capricorn by itself, I mean, in terms of physical endowments, if that's a big if we were able to actually use that to determine someone's endowment, does not necessarily lend itself to any great extremes in size, big or small, right? So there's nothing here that says, oh, hey, we need a giant deep toilet for our manly endowment. I can't even stop laughing about this. This is too funny. So, okay, so Mars by itself in Capricorn really isn't going to do that for us, right? So it's like, well, what else might give us something to indicate like endowment? Like if he is what he suggests that he is, it's got to be here, right? Maybe. Without a birth time, it's also very difficult to do because we don't have houses to work with. And certainly the houses would correspond to specific parts of the body, like the eighth house, for example. But because we don't have time of birth, we don't actually have house positions. So that makes it a little difficult. So, cruising around this chart trying to find something, there's a couple of things we should be aware of. One, he has a moon in Gemini, and moon in Gemini guys, women too, but guys in particular are really well known for bending the truth when convenient. So it is entirely possible because he doesn't come out and say in his patent application that he is one of these people, but he does make the intimation that he, suffers the same, indignity, when he goes to the bathroom, which is a classic Moon and Gemini thing. So they will suggest without actually coming out and saying it. So they can always go back and say, well, I never actually said that. So we don't, if he is actually what he suggested he is, it's got to be here. So that's the Moon in Gemini gives this little pause for a thought, like maybe it's not what he wants us to believe, right? Which is entirely possible. So the next thing we do is maybe look for aspects to Mars, like maybe that'll tell us something here, right? Or maybe in the nodes, because nodes will tend to run to extremes as well. So what do we got here? Well, we have a Mars-Pluto trine. That's interesting. So Mars and Pluto are hooked up nice and tight. Mars is at 25, Pluto's at 26 in the Earth signs. So this could theoretically give us some extreme in size. It'll certainly give him one hell of an appetite. Yeah, and with a Mars-Pluto trine like this in the Earth signs, he's not very imaginative. this is not my cup of tea, but maybe you girls are size queens and like your guys a little simple and predictable, like jackhammer. Don't, don't. Um, like he might be more your speed. So, okay, we got Pluto hooked up to Mars, so this is possible, right? Possible. This is definitely possible, but it doesn't really suggest like largesse, right? So, what else do we have that's hooked up to this Mars that might give us a suggestion of extreme physical stature, right? So, the next thing we see is Mercury squared Mars. Mercury's in Libra squaring Mars, which again, with that moon in Gemini, can make him a bit of a liar, and certainly an exaggerator, and one of those people who insinuates things without coming out and saying it. So you can never actually hold him accountable for what he didn't actually say. Well, I never actually said that. He's one of those. But he also has Jupiter in a wide square to his Mars. So Jupiter is at 20 Libra and it's squaring Mars at 25 Cap. So um, this is possible. This is very possible. And Jupiter is conjunct Mercury, which is going to give him a propensity to exaggerate, as well as the possibility, because Mercury rules the things that come off of us, usually hands and arms, but also legs, feet, appendages. Loosely, primarily Mercury rules just the hands and the arms, but and the vision, the eyes. And the moon also rules the eyes. There's some overlap with body parts of these planets, but it's possible. Jupiter, well, Mercury, Jupiter, square Mars. It is possible. It is possible that he is more than adequately endowed, especially with Pluto trining that Mars. So there's that. Now, this is not a hard and fast rule because I can tell you from lots of adult life, charts, these charts that we typically use for astrology don't always pan out quite so simply. So you will always be caught surprised by who you're dealing with compared to what the chart suggests that you might be dealing with. So astrology is funny like that. And God certainly has a sense of humor. All right, so now on to the toilet section of the chart reading from Mr. Matt Whitaker. Jesus, God, of all the things, a toilet. All right. So again, toilets and excrement are always Saturn and Pluto, right? So we would look for some of all the things to get a patent on. So we would look for some emphasis on Saturn and Pluto, Saturn or Pluto, or and Pluto, Saturn and or Pluto in his chart. And we're not really seeing it just from the aspect patterns. Now, again, we don't have a time of birth, so we're really limited in the information that we get. But some things that we do know looking at his chart. So one, the sun is in Scorpio, and remember, Saturn, Pluto, Capricorn, Scorpio, both have a particular personal fixation on these two particular things. Taurus as well, interestingly enough. I don't know what that's about, but probably because Taurus is an earth sign that's very much connected to the earth, and fertilizer is what you need for things to grow. So Taurus has a special relationship with their regularity. So a heavy emphasis on earth signs, Mars, Pluto, and Saturn. Saturn is out of orb for this, but it is still within the element trine. So we've got a grand trine by element in the earth sign. So there's some of that. Pluto is conjunct the South Node, and Pluto in Virgo absolutely has to do with the alimentary canal or bowel regularity and things associated with bowels, like toilets. And the South Node in Virgo is the nodes usually among the many things in those represented. It also represents what you've done in a past life and what you're bringing with you, and where you need to go and what your evolutionary challenges are in this lifetime. So with the South Node in Virgo near that Pluto, he's probably had a past life as a plumber. He's coming from a previous lifetime where fixing things was his thing. He was a problem solver in a previous lifetime. But with South Node Pluto in Virgo, he would have been well, this is all service work. This is all like you get your up to your elbows in grit and dirt and mess and fix things. So that's possible. That could definitely lend itself. That and the Sun and Scorpio could definitely lend itself to um, interest, more than casual interest in toilets. And he has a Sun Saturn conjunction. So he's got the Sun in Scorpio, which is, again, toilets and plumbing, right? And excrement. Opposing Saturn, which we just in Taurus, which we said Saturn rules excrement and toilets as well. And Taurus is very much, for whatever reason, like really sensitive to regularity and fertilizer, as it were. And Virgo as well. The Virgo is more interested in regularity as a health and hygiene thing. So all the earth signs um, are very have a special relationship with regularity. So that Sun Saturn could easily have him rooting around in the mud, as it were, and trying to problem solve something. So the big question is, before I sign off tonight, 'cause this is literally just for entertainment, um, does Matt Whitaker, the currently appointed AG, have a big peenie like his patent for the masculine toilet with a deeper bowl for the overly endowed would suggest? And the answer is as clear as mud. It is possible, um, but not definitive based on this chart or based on anything in this chart. And the reason is with Mercury squaring Mars, he has a propensity to manipulate information to his advantage. With the moon in Gemini, he absolutely can lie out both sides of his face by saying and not saying things at the same time. And he's got Neptune in Scorpio, which also likes to um, suggest and insinuate rather than come out as an attempt to seduce you. Um, they're very, very good with imagery. So there's the possibility that he is exaggerating a little bit here. And of course, we've got the Sun Saturn opposition here in signs Scorpion Taurus. So he's more than a little insecure all the time anyway, and likes to overcompensate for that. So there you go. This is your this was just my for fun live stream. I may or may not leave this up. If you guys want me to leave this video up, I will, but I'll probably take it down in a couple of days. And this is just for fun because Jesus, a patent for a toilet for men who are overly endowed by the Attorney General of the United States. I never thought I'd see the day. Never thought I'd see the day, but anything's possible. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.